Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore are thriving in the AHL, but the Blackhawks are currently in a playoff spot. Mario Tirabassi, what do we do about Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore?
You wait.
All right, good show. That's what I call a mini-pod.
You wait patiently. I think with Kyle Davidson and the rebuild, patience has always been preached. It's been a key thing. And I think letting these players, these young players, grow their games at the professional level in the AHL is a good thing. There's no such thing of a player that, oh no, he played too much AHL time. He's ruined his development. It's the bell curve. He's going back down the other way. I really don't think that you ever run into a situation like that. I think what we've seen from those two guys early on is their chemistry is really good playing together. Oliver Moore, the questions about him being able to finish chances at the professional level, he's been able to do that.
So far, so good.
And Nick Lardis, coming off of a 71-goal OHL season, a lot of people thought, oh, he's just going to be a goal scorer. We're seeing a little bit more of his game starting to evolve early on in his professional career. So those are all things that you want to see those guys, especially those two, do in the AHL, round out their game. And this is the first time that they've really been asked, I'd imagine, to play a system that is thinking like, okay, defense will create offense.
Yeah.
Oliver Moore's been a guy that, he's a little bit more defensively minded than I would say Nick Lardis has been, but he's been a guy that speed creates offense. And Nick Lardis has been my shot creates offense.
Right.
But I think what we're seeing through what Jeff Blashill has been preaching, what Jared Nightingale has been then trickled down preaching as well in Rockford and the way they've been playing is the habits that you see in Chicago is what you want to see in Rockford. And I think that is starting to marinate with those young players.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on Wednesday. I oddly had the same shirt on. But
Me too.
Like we have to, I know that as fans and observers and media, whatever you want to call us, fanalists, whatever you want to say, like we are always excited about the next new shiny toy. Mm-hmm. And we want it to get here as quickly as possible. And trade deadlines go by where the team stands pat and people are mad simply because they wanted someone new to watch, right? Like there's always that what's the next thing from fans. But I think Lardis and Moore themselves understand what's happening. They're seeing what's happening at the NHL level. They got friends up there playing very well, doing very well. And I don't think that if you ask them that they expected to be the guys that would begin their pro career, even if it's, 10 games later or whatever, in the NHL. Those are guys that we all expected to spend time in Rockford and develop. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're doing well there doesn't mean eject button, get them to the NHL right away because, look, they're doing well in Rockford. We want them to do well in Rockford. The expectation was for them to do well in Rockford. You don't have to immediately pull them into a tougher situation simply because it's maybe come a little bit easier for them than expected. We got to go back and look at Lucas Reichel, who had year after year after year of dominant AHL play and was never really able to put it together at the NHL level in any sort of consistent basis. So you're right. There's no such thing as over-marinating a prospect. No one has said, man, I wish I just, well, maybe for the money reasons, but no one has said my game would have really benefited from less time in the American Hockey League. No one's ever said that. So let's be patient. I do believe that there will be opportunities for them maybe sooner than on a permanent level because injuries are going to happen.
Sure.
You never know. Maybe someone else is pregnant we don't know about, right? And so someone has to miss a game.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever it might be. And maybe when those call-ups happen, those guys become the first call-ups. And maybe that wasn't the expectation coming into the season. Maybe they've earned that right. But in terms of, let's just promote these guys and move out these vets as quickly as possible, pump the brakes, let's see what happens at the NHL level here. Because, look, we're 10 games in. They're in a playoff spot. If it continues this way, then you want to have vets around. You want to have guys that have been there before and can lead them through these moments when, hey, you know what, we've lost 3 of 4 or 3 of 5 or whatever it might be. Let's get this back. Let's gain it back. Whereas if you've got a roster of entirely children, it's going to be hard to recover from something like that. So I think things are going as well as can be expected this year. There's no reason to force a change right now. There's not. I think you stay patient, Let those guys keep doing their things. And just as I think the Blackhawks are due for eventually for a streak of a couple games where things don't go great, I think Moore and Lardis will probably have the same experience in Rockford at some point. You just got to let it play out. Take your time. I know it's very tempting, but
yeah, it's been a really good start to the season for them. But I don't know if 1.5 per game for Nick Lardis is the full season expectation. I think for me with these two guys, I also kind of look at like comparing it to Frank Nazar. He came up after 21 games in the AHL. And it was right after the Blackhawks last season had fired Luke Richardson. It was, they're pulling the parachute on the way that they were going to go about things last year. And it was like, okay, we're going to promote Rockford's head coach. We're going to bring up young guys. Frank Nazar is going to lead the group. And then eventually at the end of the year, you saw Rinzel and Moore and those guys get added to the team, and you saw how kind of things change. The Blackhawks this season are not in that position where you need to pull the parachute and make a sweeping change, like, because the group is so far is working. And I'd think you look at Lardis and Moore, they're likely top 6, top 9 players.
Yeah,
you don't really have those openings right now.
Right.
Things obviously, like you said, things can kind of figure themselves out with injuries or anything like that. But if this progresses for the Blackhawks through November and December and January, you're not really looking for, like, okay, things are bad in the NHL, things are good in the AHL, let's give the AHL guys the run of the NHL. I don't think you're thinking of that right now.
Well, let's remember too, like, you're right about how poor things were going for the Hawks last year when they brought up Nazar. They also basically left a spot open for Nazar in training camp to win, and he didn't win it. So I think they were planning on him being there from the beginning to start, and he just did not have a good preseason and did not earn a job, so they couldn't just give it to him.
Right.
So that was sort of the plan to me all along, was to have Nazar start the year last year from game one, and then that changed. And also keep in mind, who did he come up and replace? It was Joey Anderson. Right. You're at this point, if you're bringing up Moore and you're bringing up Lardis, that means you're gonna sit Slaggert, you're gonna sit Doc, like Sam Lafferty's already sitting.
Right.
You're not gonna scratch Dickinson.
Are you taking out Ryan Green, one young guy who's playing really well in the NHL, to give another young guy who may play well in the? I don't know if you're doing that either.
I don't know if that solves anything for you. I think Ryan Green is giving you face-offs, solid two-way play, some decent offensive touch when given the opportunity. So, yeah, I just think right now there's no reason to mess with anything.
Yeah.
Let's keep everybody thriving. Moore and Lardis' time will come. It'll be here before you know it. There's no reason to force it.
And I think you give them more time in the AHL. They keep playing this way. You give that Rockford group a lot of confidence and a lot of positivity, and you give them some wins, and like that young group can get experience of playing this style, playing with those guys, having the success. When they get to February, March, April, they're pushing for the playoffs to get, like, that's all valuable experience. So if Oliver Moore and Nick Lardis are playing longer in Rockford than expected, they're contributing to that, and that's benefiting guys like Samuel Savoie and Aiden Thompson, and Kevin Korchinski, Nolan Allen, Ethan Delmasher, like those guys down there. They still benefit from that experience of playing those meaningful games, even if they're not in the NHL. Like, it still matters.
Yes, it's important. And just think about what sort of experience and what sort of tightness came from that game against the Wolves, where they beat the crap out of the Wolves the other day.
Right.
And things got a little nasty towards the end. That sort of stuff brings that team together. So you've got the guys who are on the outside of the NHL looking in, bonding, playing together, playing for each other. The same stuff Jeff Blashill was preaching in Chicago. It's happening in Rockford. And eventually, it's all going to come together in Chicago. And that's what we're hoping for, but there's absolutely no need to rush it at this point. Let's hope the Hawks can keep things going the way they've been going, and Moore and Lardis can keep doing the same. And we can keep having this conversation because it means things are going very well.
Stanley Cup and Calder Cup in the same year. Do it.
Let's go.